So I just wanted to show folks this plant. This is a Philodendron. It's a Congo hybrid. I think it's a red imperial. I'm not really going to know until it grows a few leaves. I just got it. It's got some yellow in the leaves. Looks pretty messy, right? So my main point in showing this is to show that this is what happens when the roots are not getting enough air. And the way I can tell the roots are not getting enough air, well, you can't see it now, but these roots were all around the very edge of the plastic container because that's where it dries out first. And you can see this soil is just peat. There's maybe a little stick in here or something like that. There's no perlite. There's nothing to really give it much air. So it has to really, really, really dry out before you can water it again, which means that the roots are going through a drought and drown kind of experience, which is not actually what they want. These plants, philodendrons, even these guys, are hemiepiphytic, meaning they can climb on trees, and they like to climb on trees. So usually these roots are just going to be eventually kind of just sticking onto trees out in lots of air, and they would be getting a ton of humidity and air at the same time. And this is why I really like to use chunky mixes like this. There is peat moss and or coco coir, I can't remember what I use in here, pumice, perlite, leca, orchid bark, well, it's reptile bark because that's cheaper, but pine bark, right? There's worm castings, there's some charcoal in here, and this is going to give these plants much more of a natural environment to hang out in for their roots. There's so much air, and the pumice will hold a lot of air, the leca will hold a lot of air, while they're also holding plenty of moisture. There's the bark is, you know, it's like the trees that they climb on or whatever. So this is much more like the forest floor they're growing in and the trees they're climbing on. And when I put this plant into plastic, which I will do because I love using plastic orchid pots, clear pots, I mean, eventually these roots are going to just be all over and they will just be thriving. Now, one thing I can say about this is that these roots are healthy. I've gotten them out of this really, really dense soil before they had a chance to really get messed up. So you can see they're pink-ish, right? That's pretty common for the Congo and herbescens varieties. They have like pinkish, reddish roots and stuff. They look really cool. So I'm really excited to rehab this plant, and I'm going to cut off some of these ends that are just looking real bad because they're just rotting. They're just rotting from the outside because there's no air in these roots. But this leaf looks lovely. This is the second to last leaf, I believe. This is the last leaf, which is still hardening off, so it's not a full dark green yet. And it's got another little leaf coming in here. And I wouldn't be surprised if this leaf either is really small, the new one, or just kind of breaks off. That happens a lot when you get new plants. Nothing to worry about. These roots, gonna be just fine. It's gonna settle in just great. And this mix, because this mix has enough air, this will suffocate your roots.